takes my eyes. Just come straight. I think that's fine.
Sandalye mi çekeceksin? Sen masaya mı çekeceksin?
Şöyle yakın mikrofonu da
Tamam. Yani.
Okay. I know that we don't have, we really need to go by Turkish perhaps, but the topic is in English, so therefore I think since everyone knows English, I assume that we can go English, right?
Yeah.
So those are, okay. So this is, so let me give some background information before we start this one. This is, this is basically an exercise that we are working on. Book projects that how we can prepare a textbook on Islamic, on scientific subjects through Mana Harfi. So, and we have a team of certain scholars, and we work together, and this is, right now we completed 3 chapters, we're working on the very first book, and this is just an example of completed one topic. So I will introduce to you. The whole purpose is to really see what will be your feedback on this one. So so any feedbacks that you have absolutely will be helpful that we will share with the team. As you know, Mana Harfi is really, if we remember from Masnavi Nuriya, that Ustad mentions for 40 years of his life and 30 years of education, that what he learned, he summarized in 4 words and 4 sentences. So, and those 4 words is really Mana Harfi, Mana Ismi. Those are the essential words, perhaps, that we can say Ustad dedicate the rest of his life to really implement those words. So, in other words, if we really try to understand his mission and his works, that we can perhaps summarize within those 4 words, that it took 40 years to understand those words, and then it took next 40 years to really implement them. So in other words, those 4 words really summarizing his way and his mission. So the challenge is that how we can really use those methodology and try to write some things new within this methodology. So our approach, we call it again, we call it to develop a cosmic language that to really help us to read the book of universe based on the approach in Risale. Now what we did, we came up with a 7-dimensional approach. 7-dimensional approach in the sense that, so I'm going to explain this one. So the very first dimension is we take a scientific subject. And so in this particular example, you will see that we are talking about the eyes, the human eyes. So we get the scientific subject from any science book. So basically this one is mostly, the book is targeting middle school and high school students largely, but the audience is broad audience. And also it's written in a way that it is actually, it's supposed to be fine for every believers, including Muslim, Christian, Jews, whoever has a concept of God, when they read this book, they should not be bothered and they should learn certain lessons. It's written with this in mind. So the very first dimension we called, our argument is that the existing scientific approach is unidimensional. It's only one dimension. It's only focused on instrument, and it's just descriptive. It's telling us what is going on, but it does not really take us to what is behind that. In other words, it's really revealed the works of Allah in the book of universe, but it doesn't really help us to read what does it mean. So in that case, we take what the science provide and we try to filter the secular ideology within that, and then we add the 6 more dimension and try to see how we can take this knowledge to higher level. So the very first one is the scientific understanding. The second one is that it is the comparison and comprehension. That's we call the first dimension, so first epistemology. That because in Risale's understanding is everything is based
on the ana. So in this case, we need to really, if we want to go in, if we want to add a new dimension and reach to haqiqa, ma'rifah, hikmah, then we need to really link to ana. So in that case, our very second one is ana dimension. The ana dimension is about analogy, tashbih or tamsil, that you can really compare and comprehend what is provided to you in the universe. This is our second dimension. So we do the comparison. The third dimension is we call the hikmah dimension. The hikmah dimension is questioning. We are not still giving an answer to them. Now we want them to really question what is provided to them. Let's say we're going to talk about the human eye. So we want them to question, as it is done in the Tabi'at Risale-i, that you see is the very first thing, the things that it does there is first negate all the three options. That's, it cannot happen by itself, it cannot be by nature. So, and after negating the three, and then start to talk about it can only be done by Allah. So we, in this case, before talking that who is the maker of this phenomena, let's say the human eye, so we want the individual, the readers, to really question, to use the critical thinking, and to question and realize that neither cause, nor nature, nor chance can be the source of the observed phenomena. This is the third dimension. And the fourth dimension is to now go to ma'rifah dimension. The third one we call the hikmah dimension. The fourth one we call the ma'rifah dimension, is basically to now find the hidden reality, and to this is haqiqah dimension, laysa ma'rifah. So to find the hidden reality, to know that it is God or God's name behind what is observed. So, and here we try to explain why we need to, or why we think it is God that's behind the observed phenomena. It's not that we eliminate the other option, therefore it is God. Now here we provide the justification that why it must be God. It cannot be anyone else. So that is the fourth dimension. The fifth dimension is the understanding, this is a ma'rifah dimension, to really understand why he's doing what he's doing, to get the knowledge, to gain the knowledge of God. So who is God? What he's leading, what he's telling us through his action that we are studying in the universe. That's what we call the ma'rifah dimension. And sixth dimension is that we call the futra dimension, to really understand and appreciate how this phenomena is linked to us and how it is a ni'mah, or how it's bounty and blessing for us. We call the gift effect, to reflect on the value of what you observe. And finally, the seventh dimension is we call fadila dimension. It is how you can learn some character lessons, to really, what is the learned lesson and how you can take your lessons and to be a better human being. That's we call seventh dimension. Now here, and then after that we have the, again, test of your knowledge, that understanding science, scientific term, and we put again certain section, and even we add at the very end, we call think thank game. So again, this is for the students, that we really make them to think and thank, so appreciate what is really given. So it's prepared in a way that's really the target is students and parents, for anyone who really wants to use the scientific knowledge and try to add more dimension about let's say the character education. The title that we are thinking for the book is to building character building through science, and we say science and deep reality, or we still are not sure on this one, but we're going to call the title will be the character education through science. And we don't want to call it religion, in a sense that the people not really look in religion as in a positive sense. So we call it science, maybe a deep reality. We're still discussing our science. We came up with the science and wisdom, but then some argued that in the West, wisdom really means something different than hikmah, so therefore they suggest that we should not call it, but we're still looking for a good title for this one. But what are we going to do? So we're going to just basically go through each section and to show you how we did this one for the eye. So again, this subject here, the very first subject that we're working on is really, it's the five senses and the brain part of this one. So, and this is about the human sight and the eyes. So, and we'll show it how we work on this one. So the very first dimension, again, is scientific understanding. What we do here, of course, the science is not objective. The scientific understanding of human eyes comes with certain secular ideology. The challenge for us, how you can filter the secular ideology. Now we try to do it. You will see we try to use certain words to really overcome this one. But of course, it's not easy. But our core content is coming straight from a science subject or science textbook. But we try to, what we try to do, we try to filter any concept that imply causation, imply nature, or imply chance. We try to filter them, and we try to inject certain concept to really make the reader to think that there might be something else behind those. But otherwise, it's straight from the scientific. Like I'm going to read, and I suggest that you read it with me on the screen. Your eyes is a sphere slightly smaller than a ping pong ball. It's filled with a jelly-like liquid and surrounded by a thin, transparent protective layer called cornea. Look into a mirror. Can you see a black spot in the middle of your eye surrounded by a ring of color? The black spot is actually a hole that allows light rays to enter your eye. This hole is called the pupil. The ring of color is muscle called the iris that is designed to change the size of the pupil depending on how much light there is. In the bright light, the iris relaxes, allowing the pupil to become smaller. In darker condition, the iris contracts, allowing the pupil to enlarge in order to receive as much light as possible. Think about when you enter a dark room after playing in bright sunlight, how it takes you a few seconds before you can recognize the shape of the objects. Your eyes are adjusting to the dark by changing the size and shape of your pupils, and the white part of the eye is a outer coating called scleria, and there's the picture for that. Look at the diagram below. Can you spot the retina? The retina is a thin layer of special nerve cells at the back of the eye that collect information about the light that enter the eye. It then passes those messages along the nerve called the optic nerve that carries them to the brain. It's only then that the brain can decode and process this information so that you can see the image of the object you are looking at. This whole process happens in a fraction of a second. It's almost instantaneous. Even your eyelids have a function. They are designed to keep dust and dirt out of your eyes. Did you know that the tear gland, the group of cells, produce 3 different kinds of tears? Some tears are produced to keep your eyes moist. Some are produced in response to an irritating substance like a specks of dirt or dust, for instance. Even some are produced in response to strong emotions such as intense happiness or sadness. Even notice when you sometimes feel better after crying. Have ever noticed how you sometimes feel better after crying? That's because your tear contains special materials that create a joyful effect in your body. Think for a moment, how did we get functioning eyes? Can they be the work of a natural cause or happen by chance? Before exploring the answer to this question, let us first reflect on a couple of man-made inventions that have attempted to mimic the behavior of our miraculous eyes. So basically, as you see here, what we try to do, we just get the scientific explanation and saying what are the part of the eyes, how it works, how we get the light, and how it is designed. We try to use the word, again, your word of design is there, the word that it is, it's the emphasis on the benefit side. That's how is a purposefully made miraculous work. So that is really, again, what the message we try to give. Now, with that, then the second step is to really give some things that we know through the ana that you can compare with the eyes to understand really the value and the importance of the eyes. So second dimension, comparison and comprehensions. You have now learned that your eyes take pictures of the world around you and send those pictures to your brain. The light rays from any objects you are looking at pass through the pupil and gets recorded at the back of the eye or the retina. In a similar way, digital cameras capture images by allowing light rays from an object to pass through a lens and record an image on a computer. Reflect on the differences between the images produced by our eyes and the image produced by a man-made cameras. Remember that although modern cameras produce high definition, good quality, high images, they are incomparable to the images produced by our eyes. First of all, while producers of a high-end digital camera may boast about it having 24 megapixels, it's worth noting that human eyes has capacity up to 576 megapixels. Second, if you consider how your brain processes the signal it receives from your eyes and compare it to the images stored by a camera's computer chips, you should be able to see the eye is outstandingly superior. Remember, your eyes have a remarkable ability to transmit a constant feed video to your brain to produce you with a live broadcasting of the world. Now here again, you see basically our whole purpose to help the readers to understand that we have some things that man made that works similar to God-made eyes or human eyes. And so we make comparison here, but at the end of comparison, we try to be very clear that if we try to compare human eyes and a camera, any digital camera, and human eye will always function better and is much superior to the man-made camera. So that is really the message we try to give. Now, after that, so again, the whole purpose is to really see how you can look at some things that outside and compare with something that you know from your own experience and to see how you can make sense of it. The third dimension, critical thinking. Think about man-made cameras. What does it take to make them? Do you believe that the wind can produce such devices through random blowing of sand for years? Do you believe that animals can make them? Do you believe that a person with a very low IQ could make them? Obviously not. Why? Because these complicated devices could be only assembled by someone who has great knowledge and ability. Now think about the trillions of images instantly produced by the billions of human eyes around the world. Think about the amazing mechanism used by our miraculous body systems and well-connected nervous system that allows us to see objects around us whenever we open our eyes. Do you think it is possible for nature with no mind to create the eye out of the thin air? Is it possible that the eye emerged by accident through the random coming together of atoms and molecules? For sure it is not. It's not even possible for cameras and eyeglasses to emerge in those ways. Have you heard about the bionic eye? Reflect on its invention. Its inventors won the highest US award for technology achievement. He managed to design the bionic eye after studying medicine, biomedical engineering, and ophthalmology for many years. Remember that this invention, however, would not have been possible were it not for the hundreds of years of efforts by thousands of people around the globe. Consider the following scenario. Imagine a person who suddenly comes across a bionic eye. Upon examining, he's so astonished that at this gadget that he carelessly assumed that it is a natural invention. He does not think about his inventor. He assumed that nature must have invented the bionic eye. Others who are aware of this existence of advanced technology laugh at his assumption. They know that there is an intelligent individual somewhere in the world who must have built this bionic eye. Now imagine a room where a heated discussion is taking place about the bionic eye. Some people at the room are attributing this invention to random selection, others to superficial natural causes. Think about what will happen if the bionic eye's inventors walks into the room. Do you think he will feel offended? Sure. If people do not affirm that he actually invented this device, then it means that they have dismissed his intelligence and skill. Moreover, all of his efforts and years of his work are made negligent. Thus, the inventor has been reduced to a man with neither wisdom nor talent. Let us compare the bionic eye to the actual human eye, which is much more marvelous invention combining art, beauty, and wisdom. If we dismiss its inventor, don't you think we will offend him? But above all, this will be a denial of truth, which is the biggest offense against the eye, as it involves the denial of miraculous art. Now, there is one key difference between these two inventions. The inventor of the bionic eye is not hidden, so it is not difficult to show and prove the existence of its inventor. But the human eye has a hidden reality which is open for us to discover. But how? So again, we are still not telling the exact answer to the reader. So here, what we try to do really using the analogy in the second dimension and just making the reader to think, to say, okay, you know, that's, let's say, a camera, you know, the bionic eye, and for sure, when you do the reasoning, you will never accept that this can happen by chance or by accident, because you know the requirement here, this purposeful device can be only the work of someone with certain knowledge and will and power. That's really the message we try to give in this part. And then we now have the readers to think, to say, okay, if this is true for the man-made one, So why not? Why can't it be true for the other? That in this case, the human eye. Now the fourth dimension. It's about now we try to see how we can make a case to really say the human eyes can only be the work of God. If neither nature nor chance can be the cause of our ability to see, then how did it happen? What is the hidden hand behind the well-connected and organized activity in our body? It's important to acknowledge the fact that human eye is only a tool like the glasses that we wear to help us see. The eyes and brain do not see. They are just the tools that we use to experience the sense of sight. Like the light that radiates from a light bulb by flicking a light switch, our ability to see emanates from the connection between our eyes and nerves and brain. The light that illuminates our homes comes through cables, light switch, and bulb, not from them. It comes from a power plant. Similarly, our ability to see does not come from the eyes or the brain. It comes directly from the hidden power. Let us explore the hidden power behind our eyes and sense of sight. Remember, the visual system is a perfectly coordinated system of nerves, blood vessels, eye, and brain structure that work in miraculous harmony to perform the function of the sight that many of us take it for granted. This visual system, the same one that is currently allowing you to read the letters and words on this page, is only one out of many systems that work together in the human body to enable you to live, survive, and thrive in your environment. It does not work in isolation. It's connected to the sun and the sunlight. Indeed, without light, the eyes have no value. There is a connection between the light and our eyes. There is also a connection between the source of the light and such as the sun and our eyes. Thus, whoever made the sun is the one who made the eyes see using the sunlight. Indeed, one might argue that our sense of sight is connected to the entire universe because the sun is a star having a place in the cosmic order. As shown in the third dimension, the perfect creation of the eyes within the human body could not have happened by chance, material causes, or nature. The eyes is proof of knowledge and wisdom, both of which mean different things. If someone has knowledge but no wisdom, then he can make the eye but cannot place it harmoniously within the system where it exists. Knowing something means understanding how it is made. Wisdom means understanding how to incorporate it into a system. Therefore, the eyes can only be the work of the one who has the knowledge, wisdom, power, and will to create perfection in every living thing. It can only be the work of the one who makes millions of cells come together in a perfect unity to create the tissues that form the organs of the visual system. It can only be the work of the one who has made it possible for the cells to have built-in plans and specifications that allow them to instinctively know their individual roles. Now again, in this part, as you see, we try to, there are two essential messages that we try to give in, to really say why the eye has to be the work of Allah. The very first thing we mentioned at the beginning is basically we try to say, first of all, even though that you see with your eyes, and there is a brain that gets the signal from the eyes, we try to make it clear that it's not the eyes that they see, or it's not the brain that they see. It is, and we use the example of the light, and basically we argued that as you use the light switch that you get the light, but you cannot claim that the light come from the light switch or come from the bulb. So similarly, you have to use the eyes or the eye cells and nerves and the brain cell, but none of them is really the source of the sight. So the sight directly comes from Allah, but it comes through the eyes. So in a sense that we try to really, one way we are saying that the eyes is a miraculous work of Allah. In other way, we're saying that actually the sight is something attached to the eyes, is really not coming from the eyes. That we think is essential to really, for the, we had the discussion before on this one, is the Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, to really give everything directly to Allah. That's one thing we try to emphasize. The second thing here, that the way that we try to make a case to say it's only Allah, that we try to emphasize the wahdaniyah, in a sense that to emphasize that eye does not work in isolation. The eyes actually is connected to the whole body, is connected to the sun, is connected to the solar system, is connected to the entire universe. So therefore, whoever creates the whole universe it can be only this could create the human eye. So in this part, we try to, when we make case that it must be Allah, our argument is that, or it must be God. Again, we didn't use Allah as a concept, the name here. And the way that we try to make a case it must be God is that basically our argument that everything is connected to everything else. So therefore, whoever create the entire universe must be this. It must be that creator is also creating this part within the universe. In this case, is human eyes. Now, the fifth dimension is that once we realize that, okay, this is really the work of someone who created the whole universe, then the fifth dimension, we try to really say, okay, why he's doing that? What is really, what he's telling us in this one? We call understanding the hidden messages within that. We call the Ma'rifah dimension, to know about the God. And here's this. Who is the maker of the eyes? What can we know about the maker? It seems like he speaks through his actions. Actually, action speaks louder than words. Why did the maker grant us eyes? Remember that our eyes are a portal to the beauty and fairness in our physical world at which we fix our gaze. Our field of vision is thus a hook that has the ability to feel our fate in the one who has generously granted our eyes. The eye then is a like window through which the spirit looks onto this world. It can be pandered to the whims of the wandering, lost soul or witness to the miracles of its maker. As we discussed in the previous dimension, it's obvious that the maker of eyes must have the wisdom, ability, and power to make them. It must be way beyond our knowledge and power to create our own eyes and also control them. We open and close our eyelid, but that is not a total control of the eye because we do not control the power of seeing or losing our eyesight. Indeed, the maker of the eye must have the infinite knowledge and power to make our eyes. That is because the fact that our eyes are connected to the entire universe. The maker must see what we see. Indeed, the one who grants the eyes both sees the eyes and sees what the eyes see. He must know our needs for sight. He must be very kind in giving us such a precious gift at no charge. Indeed, since no power can be above the infinite power, he could not be forced to make the eyes. Thus, he creates eyes for living beings purely out of his mercy. Just as he creates all things a being needs for life, he must be very wise because he used an extremely elegant system to allow us to see. In short, eye speaks about their maker as being all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-wise, most merciful, most kind. As we study the eyes, we shall learn more about their maker. So again, here our references here that how can we know about the names of the maker of the eyes. Through his action, as we study the eyes and try to understand the manifestation in the eyes, then we try to see whether we can derive certain lessons, try to get to know about the maker. He's not only creator, he's a merciful creator. He's not only creator, he is all-wise creator. He's not only the creator, he is most merciful creator, most kind creator. So in this case, that we really try to reflect on his creation and get knowledge about him and try to understand his names and adjective from this. The sixth dimension, now reflecting on the gift effect, reflect for a moment on the value of your eyes. Close your eyes and try to move around for a few moments. Imagine how your life would look like if you were blind for only one day. How about if you were born blind but given the opportunity to buy a pair of eyes? For sure, you will pay any price to get it. Sight is necessary for us to survive. Indeed, the human species will be extinct if there was no sense of sight. You find your food and drink with your eyes. You find your way with your eyes. If you spot any danger with your eyes, you immediately look for safety with them. You enjoy colorful scenes with your eyes. Indeed, your life is truly enriched with your sense of vision. Perhaps we need to have an annual sight appreciation day. We could ask everyone to use blindfold on that day to appreciate the value of sight. Why did you buy your eyes? How much did you pay for them? Of course, they are not available for sale. Even if all scientists in the world pull their resources and knowledge together, they will not be able to create the eye in its glorious perfection. If they eventually succeed in making one, it will surely cost a fortune to buy. You receive your eyes as a gift before starting your journey on the planet Earth. The one who created you granted you with a pair of eyes to see the wonders of the world. Each one of us was unique. Each one of us was given a unique gift of eyes. Indeed, no two eyes in the world are identical. Thus, your eyes were especially made for you. They are a truly special gift from the most kind, most merciful, loving, and caring God. Know that you have learned the value of your eyes. Don't you need to know how and for what to use them for? If we give a high price to an artificial organ, what price does God want who is the true creator of the eyes? The merciful gift giver wants, in return for these valuable organs and goods, three things. One is remembrance, another is gratitude, and the third is reflection. Remembrance is reaching the realization that there is a creator of the eye. Gratitude is being thankful to the Creator for bestowing upon us such a good blessing of sight. Reflection is thinking of our miraculous eyes as a gift of our Creator's mercy and perceiving them as a priceless wonder of art. The Creator of our bodies and organs wants them to be used for goodness. If they are not used in this way, then their value diminishes. In fact, they merely turn to dust after that. It's important to further reflect on this fact in order to understand how such precious gifts should be appreciated. Now again, basically, here in this one, we try to really have the reader to reflect on the value of the eyes. And you see our emphasis is, and we are considering for all this, for this sixth dimension, to really insert some real life story. Let's say we put an interesting story of a blind person to just really make it more interesting, that to have the readers to appreciate the sight and the seeing. But the message here is very clear, that to have individual to reflect on the value of the gift. Not only that, to really think that the gift, first of all, is a gift. Second, is a special gift. Third, it is extremely valuable special gift made for you, and it's really take the fortune to get something like this if it is wherever possible to buy it. That is really the message. And then you see that what you need to do when you get such gift, and it's straight from the first word. That's fikr, zikr, shukr. That's what we try to really put it here. That's how you really, when you understand this gift, that how you can respond it in this regard. The seventh dimension is responding with a better character. Now, how can you really use this one and try to be better human being in this case? What should we do in response to this extremely valuable gift of sight? How should we respond to the gift giver? How can we express our appreciation? Just as we pay the price to purchase cameras and glasses, we should pay our dues to the one who created the sun, the light, the air, the eyes, the brain, in addition to many other factors so that we may see. We should pay our dues to the one who does not ask for money. He does not need money. Everything belongs to him. He wants appreciation through good words and action. He wants you to remember that not only do you become beautiful when given a pair of eyes, but you are allowed to witness the beauty around you with your eyes. He wants you to be aware that the one who grants your eyes see everything. He wants you to be mindful of him when using your eyes. He wants you to look at what it is good. He wants you to avoid looking at what is sinful. He wants you to know what he sees. He wants you to know that he sees everything you see. He observes everything you do. He records every moment of your eyes. Thus, you should use your eyes to become a better person. You should look around with curious eyes to wonder about the maker of the universe. You should read the meaningful messages in the book of the universe. You should feel great appreciation every day when you wake up for having such great eyes to enjoy your beautiful life. Let us think further. Although we are in the need of numberless things to maintain our life in this world, we possess almost nothing to protect ourselves against endless calamities and disasters. Our power extends only as far as our hands can reach. However, our hopes, desires, pains, and tribulations reach as far as the eye and the imagination can stretch. How can we protect our faculties and precious organs like our eyes? The eyes is one of the senses, a window through which we look onto the world. If we do not use it in the way God Almighty commands us, but rather employ it for evil purposes, it will sink to a lowly level. But if we use the eye in the way of all-seeing Creator and employ it for goodness, then our eye will rise to the rank of a good observer of the great book of being, witnessing the miraculous of divine arts in the universe. It will thus deserve to receive the reward of looking at splendid beauties of eternal paradise. What a fabulous reward. So again, in this part, basically, we're trying to see how we can now make the reader to think what to do with those eyes. That, you know, we get such precious things, and what are we expect to do with the eyes. So in this case, the lesson that we try to really give, or the emphasis we try to put it, to see how you can give some character lessons that to use the eyes in a way that the maker of the eyes wants you to live your life. So that's what we call this the building the characters. So we try to give the character lessons in the 7th dimension. And then again, after that, we will have it test your knowledge section for each the concept that we have. So the first one's again science terms, so we try to see whether they get it. And the second one, again, so we put certain concept to see whether they really get the message in the text. Like, let's say, sight comes with the eyes, not from the eyes, you know, so because we injected certain idea, we see whether they get it or not. So then we have some short questions and the concept to apply, and then at the end, so we put, you know, game to really have them to reflect on the value of the eye and to think and thank for the eyes. So this is what we have it. Was it good enough to fall asleep? Okay. So again, I think common question could be in Turkish as well, no problem. Since the text was in English, therefore I thought that we need to go to the English.
So this is gonna be a typical chapter of the book, this summarizes the whole level of the book, you know, actually, or the whole book will be set up in this
This is
way.
Just one. Each book will have 10 topics, and each topic will be covered exactly as this one. So
like
this
in
is
7 layers.
7 dimensions.
Dimensions.
Yes. So in this case, this is just a template for the whole books. This was the very first subject that we work on it, and so we had again many round of revision and discussion and meeting, and at the end, that's really what we came up with. This is, as of now, is the final draft of, you know, I think maybe 2-3 months work. But we use this one now as now we are on the 4th chapters. This is the we call the units. So each book is going to be 10 chapters, 10 units. So, but each one of them will have the exactly same structure, 7 dimension and the test your knowledge section.
This is 1 unit.
This is 1 unit. Yes. Why? Was it too long? So
Jazakallah, I like this a lot. Just one comment. Maybe after 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 units, I can see the value, but maybe after 4, 5, 6, 7, so you know what to expect. So you already got the point. So would it be a little repetition?
Yeah, that's very good. First of all, pedagogically speaking, actually we think repetition to a certain extent is really good to have that. What we try to do, the only difference will be in each you're going to reflect on the different things. So we are intentionally repeating certain themes throughout the book because we want the reader to get the points. That's really to get the certain way of thinking, reflecting. But to avoid the, you know, again, repetition to get them bored, that we try to put it in a different way. And the context will be different because this is eyes, then now we're going to talk about the brain, then we'll talk about the nervous system, then we'll talk about the ears, you know, we're talking about different things, and for each we'll have different things to say. But the structure will be the same, but we'll try to, in one way, we try to make sure that there are certain repeated theme they will understand like, okay, everyone, now we're going to question the causes. But how are we going to question that one? But obviously we're going to question the nature and cause and chance. So we try to negate them. That will be a repeated theme. But in every one of them, we'll try to see how we can put it in a way that there will not be exact repetition, but will be repetition in the theme. That's what we're really working on, that one. Yeah. But eventually, so yes, let's say if they read all, and they get, and now when they study any scientific subject, they can even themselves figure out that. I think that would be great success. That we want them to get something like this. Yes.
So this is for the high school kids, right?
This is middle and high school.
Middle. Yeah, I mean, for me it's really good, but as you know, when the subject gets longer and longer, people's attention is getting lower and lower, so...
You know, so yeah, first of all, of course, this is again like I think we will have a limit, like each book will be around maximum 200 pages, including the exercise, the test of knowledge part. So 200 pages books, and it's kind of workbook. It's not like you have to just start it and actually finish right away. So as long as, let's say, each unit can be, you know, managed, I think what we try to do, let's say, if you aim to finish one unit within, let's say, a day, then that will be fine. Otherwise, it's like other workbook that you get it, that is, you can study the use the workbook for the whole summer. So in this case, the parents or kids can have this one and use for the whole summer, and they can study, you know, as they have a time. But we'll absolutely look at that one, make sure that the subjects, we are planning to, once we have it, we're going to give some samples in some schools and have teachers to really use with students and practice with students. And then we'll try to see whether, you know, what will be the feedback from them before we go to the market. We're going to test this one directly with the teachers and with students.
Another thing that I think if you put more figures, maybe, it can take attention as well?
Yeah,
or?
That's actually, we're going to, once this is the content only, we're going to have a professional graphic designer to develop proper graph and to make it visual and more attractive. We'll have this one. But now is the whole emphasis just on the content.
Thank you, Furkan abi. I wonder, what's your major audience? Are you trying to reach out religious schools, or are you trying to reach out all schools over the course of time? And do you expect any objections to this? Yeah, I think. What's your plan for that?
Yeah, I think our goal is that for this book particularly, our goal is to reach any person with the sense of higher being, supreme being, or God, whatever they call it. So in this case, as long as, you know, therefore we intentionally avoid to use concept of Allah in that one. So we are going to, actually when I'm here, I'm going to meet with Ian Markham, and we think that he will be this is one thing we're going to discuss with him. We think he will be very happy as a Christian to really use this book for Christian schools as well. So when we work on the projects, what we had it in mind that we need to use more inclusive language that should be fine for anyone who believe there must be creator behind the works in the universe. That was in our mind.
It's similar to Hussein's question, but from a different point. So maybe you mentioned it in the beginning. What are you gonna call the name of the book, or in what class are you gonna teach this?
Yeah, exactly. This is not directly textbook. We call it a workbook, and our target audience is parents and students. That student can study themselves, parent can study with them, or they can, one area will be on, they can use for the character education course, because now their character education is part of that one. So we want to call it the character building through science and deep reality, or science of something. We're still working on this one. So in a sense that our science and wisdom, we had it the last one, but there was some objection to this. So it is, our purpose here is not a textbook. but it will be a supplementary books to any parents that who really like the science, but meanwhile who really see the science is very dry and doesn't give anything. So, and who see that how they can use the scientific knowledge to develop certain sense of, again, characters and through understanding about the maker of this scientific phenomena. So our, again, audience now is really, we think that there are many Islamic schools around the world. We think they might use this one and just recommend to the parents and students directly. So we'll try to, when we move to the production stage, so we will have a marketing plan, and in this case, you know, we're thinking about the publisher and market things and the target, and those Islamic schools will for sure be among targets. But also we think that all those Christian schools or any religious schools, they could be targeted as well. So they can use it, it depends. They can use it for Sunday school. They can use for the weekend schools, and again, let's say in US, in Europe. But meanwhile, we think that it can be used for the character education course, and it can be used in summertime by parents. So this is our initial one, is a broad one. But then if we really get right on the methodology and we improve it, then we can actually go grade by grade and start to work on a textbook directly. But this is now, it is extremely challenging job. We try to see how we can get something that's really, that's satisfying. And after that, so we think that once we develop methodology and we see that we have evidence it works, we can rewrite the entire textbooks. But at this stage is more general, is just, we call the workbook, helping for self-study or helping the parents really to have their kids to how they can to see how they can approach to the scientific knowledge in different way.
Yeah, it makes a better sense, because I was thinking that you're gonna replace this with a science textbook.
No.
So otherwise, you know, I couldn't fit in my mind to any curriculum.
It's not.
Which
no,
is used in today's schools.
Initially we had it, we thought that we can go grade by grade and actually to get something, but it was more challenging, so we changed the mind. We say, let's do something more general for broader audience and test on them to see how it works. Then, meanwhile, we can get more minds to help us to work on it. And then after that, we can really maybe go by grade level and do something by topic by topics. But again, that's really, this is the, you know, we have it in our teams. We had recently had meetings. We have Colin Turner, Yunus Cengal, Alparslan Çikgenç, he is very much involved in this one. Ferit Alatas, Faris Kaya, Bünyamin Duran. You know, we have several individuals that we established the teams. Some are board members. They review the final products, like Alparslan Çikgenç, and they are directly the editors. They review the content.
First of all, mashallah, it looks wonderful, and I hope it reaches the conclusion too. I just was curious about how much here you want to split, about, like with sentence or words like the black spot is actually a hole that allows light rays to enter. So you have like these transitive words that attribute agency to the hole. You know, in an ideal world, it could be a passive sentence, or, you know, if you were straightforward about God, makes it. So I understand that you don't want to do that, but I was wondering if you thought about this.
Yeah, we thought. Again, that's again, we had it. One suggestion was that use only passive word, and Risale used this one. Otherwise, there you attribute something, and we have evidence very clear in Risale that you start using active verb as well. So becomes passive. Sentence alone is boring. It doesn't go very well. So our thing is that, yes, we try to see whether we can be selective in the sense that, let's say it is designed, that we use intentionally, that or it's like let's say even we put in questions, the word choice is really one of the main challenge. Things like what is the intended function of our eyelids? So when we say intended function, that we are making them directly to think that This is intentionally made something. So the word choice is really one of the key parts for us. We try to see what would be the right word. Like the other thing we use when we describe, let's say the cells is doing something, the eyes, the particular thing is doing this, we say appears to do this. So we add the words of appears to tell the readers that it appears that actually the eyes see, but it's not really the eyes. It is something else that make you to see. But still, it is eyes making. Without eyes, you cannot see that. And the scientific knowledge will tell you how the eyes works and make you to see. Now, when we give them, we try to see what we can add some word. There's one of like word we use. We say seems or appears, that to really give impression, at least to the readers, to say, yeah, this is what we describe, but it's the reality behind this is something different. So that is, but still is very challenging. It's not really, it is not easy. It's very, again, we really, we sincerely need more mind to help us. And so when we want to do more professionally, we sign contract with people, try to go and to do it professionally as a project. We don't want to really have a voluntary-based system. But we did advertisement online and try to look for the authors. So interestingly, we find a science teacher. We get several applications for the position, and we asked them. We described the project. We asked them to do the sample work, and one science teacher, she did excellent job, and she has no knowledge of Risale and anything, and she is now one of the main team player on the team. So it's really interesting that it is sad in the sense that we have many peoples that really they've been reading Risale for many years. And it's hard to really, when you come to production, to see how we can get some things. We need know this one, but how you can apply to really get some things within the methodology is not that easy. That to really find the individuals. So we really we think that the more individual we can have it, that this is still initial stage. That the more people we can have it, start to think on this one and help us to really improve the methodology, that the better it could be. Meanwhile, we're working on a book that we are, planning to submit to, again, Yale Press or other top publisher. The book will be on the methodology. What we're doing here, we are writing a book on describing the methodology. And so we're planning to publish this book as well. It will be open to anyone, so they can actually, they can read and it can open the discussion. Because again, the concept is there and we know, but the question is how we can develop particular methodology to apply and to write a workbook and to write the whole textbooks. So that is really a big challenge and big job. So therefore, it's really we need more help in this regard. Anyone who's really curious and who are interested in the subject, they are more than welcome to really be part of the project. Any other comment, questions? Yeah, I think we will, inshallah. But again, those is dissemination parts, marketing part. But for us, the most essential part is to get the content. How can we really get the content? Then we prepare, let's say, with the 10 topics and ready, and then we can go out to say, here it is, and this is how you can use Ma'na Harfi and present it, scientific topics. So if you get this one right, then after that, multimedia, there are many ways, and there are really many ways you could. And we have it like Colin Turner is very excited, and they established institute in, I think, Cambridge. He wants to have it published through them. We come under this institute, and he really thinks that it has a great potential to really get such books to everywhere around the world, particularly in Muslim world. Like I tell you, in Saudi and in the Middle East alone, there are thousands of Islamic schools, but they actually do the secular education. What they do, they get the science books directly published in US, and they just inject some ayah and hadith. They say now we have Islamic school. That doesn't work. It's actually, they are still giving the science secular ideology. So therefore, we think that if we can present some things that's appealing and inclusive and appealing to everyone, so we think there is really great markets. And so we're not thinking, of course, even one person said, oh, this could be really great money making. We said, no, our purpose is any money actually we generate from this project directly will go to the project. No personal profits, zero. 100% dedicated to the cause. So therefore, inshallah, if it is we have a great markets, we're gonna dedicate directly to the projects. Yes. No, we try to, no, the board is voluntary, I mean, they do that, but the other person we do professionally. We actually sign contract with them. Anyone who really want to put time and write it, we sign a contract, we pay them. Because we think that's a better way to do that. We ask them to deliver with the timeline. We use a project management website, Basecamp, we have everything there. So the team, all team member is there, and we assign them, we give the deadline, and want them to do properly. We don't want them to just, have their spare time and work on it. That doesn't work. Yeah.
What is the expected publication date right now?
Well, our goal, inshallah, to finish, I think we have the goals to finish 2 books this year, inshallah, the next year. So as soon as we finish, then we'll start to work on this one. But we have it now, 2 topics that we are planning to finish, and after that we're going to move to the publication, inshallah.